Hi, welcome. Trying something a little different today. Today's blog post is a video. Let me know how you like it. If this is popular, then we may do more. And if I get a phone with more memory, they may be longer. Some. So I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about how our brain forms memories from experiences. I know I promised to give you a helpful tip in the title, and we'll get there. But just so you understand why and how that's helpful, a little bit of a review on memory formation. So when we experience any sort of event, our brain doesn't keep track of every individual detail like a camera taking a video. You can probably think of things right now that you can't remember, like what you had for breakfast last Thursday. Anyone? I know I had a protein shake, because I have a protein shake literally every morning, but anything that you do on a regular basis but don't have any specific, the same thing you do every time, you probably don't really remember because it turns into a routine, and your brain just knows that it doesn't need to really waste energy keeping track of all those little details. So for example, if we can take a birthday party, depending on what your focus is on in life, you may remember different details than I would. So I know, for example, if I go to a party with my sister, afterwards she will know what every single person was wearing, and if it fit, and if the color suited them, and probably where they bought it, and I will have no clue. And she can say to me, well, the woman who was wearing the orange skirt, and I'll go, okay, I believe you that there was a woman in an orange skirt. This is not helpful information in terms of getting anything out of my memory. I remember a lot more what people's voices sounded like, or specific things that they said. Like I pick up auditory details better and remember them better. And it's just everyone has their different focus. Someone else might have come away from the party remembering every single dish that was served and how well it was cooked, and if people seem to like it because they're very food oriented. And so we all have the same experience, but our brain remembers the details that are pertinent to us. In terms of like the dry detail, the facts. The dry facts, you just remember what's more important to you usually. But our memories aren't just factual. Our memories are also emotional. So I was at a party, you were at a party, my sister was at a party. How does each one of us remember the emotional feeling of the party? And how does each one of us really decide whether it was a good experience or a bad experience? And it turns out that I've done a lot of studies on this now, and it's not that like each individual second of the party we rank from 1 to 10 whether it was good or bad, and add them all up and divide and conclude what the general ranking was. That's wastes way too much energy. Our brain is way too smart to do all that work. Our brains were designed to be efficient. And so what it actually does is your brain takes the high point of the party, the low point of the party, and here's the important bit, the end of the party or of any experience, and it takes those 3 points and averages them out and decides whether it was a good experience or a bad experience. And so what this means is that the final period, the final minutes, the last day, the last hour of any experience has a much more significant effect on how we remember the experience, if we remember it as being good or bad, than anything that happens in the middle and anything that happens in the beginning. So for example, if I am having a birthday party and the high point of the birthday party is like 10 out of 10 because all my friends came and everyone was happy and it's nice and I get all excited and I have this minute where I feel like I couldn't possibly be happier. And the low point of the party is like 3 out of 10 because my brother dropped his ice cream and then he stepped in it and he fell and he hit his head and he cut his forehead open, and there was this debate as to whether we go to the emergency room or not. That's pretty low. It wasn't like 0 out of 10. No one had a heart attack, but it brought the feeling down. But the end of the party was really nice. Like, my best friend stayed and helped me clean up, and we had a little bit of an after party, and I went to bed with my favorite book and, planned a nice day for tomorrow. Overall, I'm going to remember that as a really good experience. I had a real high point, I had a low point, and I had a happy ending. And when we average those all out, the total experience is going to be remembered as good. It was happy, it was nice. On the other hand, if we have the same party, we have a 10 out of 10 high point, we have a 3 out of 10 low point, but at the end of the party, no one stays to help me, and as they're all leaving, one of the guests makes some comment, and I realize that I dropped chocolate sauce on my dress at the beginning of the party, and it's been there this whole time. And now I'm left with a dirty dress that everyone noticed, and a room full of dirty dishes, and ice cream on the floor, and blood in my bathroom from when my brother cut his head open. And I clean it all up, and then I eat some more ice cream and cake because it was kind of like a sucky evening, and I want to make myself feel better. And then I go to bed too late with a headache and a stomachache because I ate all the extra ice cream and cake. And I'm probably going to remember the experience overall as not being as nice. Because I have a high point, I have a low point, but I have the bad ending, and the bad ending averages into the other 2 points and brings everything down. And the important point here is that if the bad ending happens earlier in my overall experience of that day, it does not have the same effect. So if we have the same party, we have 10 out of 10 high point, 3 out of 10 low point. My brother just does not learn, and he keeps hitting his head after he drops his ice cream. And at the end, someone makes a comment about my dress, and everyone goes off and leaves. And I'm all bummed out, except for my best friend who says, oh, it's fine, nobody noticed, and I have the spray that'll get it out, and really ignore the dress. And I'll come back tomorrow morning and help you clean up. Or even she doesn't say that. She just, comforts me. The dress isn't that bad. Don't let whatever she said get you down. And I say to myself, okay, fine. You know what? It's my birthday. All these dishes aren't my problem. I'm just going to leave them here. I'm going to go to bed with a nice book. And tomorrow morning I call up some of my siblings or my friends or hire a cleaner and have someone come in, and we have a little cleaning up party and a little more cake and ice cream that's left over, and just make it like a nice, not as nice as maybe a big fancy party, but not, oh, I'm left all alone to clean and I'm miserable. So I've done 2 things. I've improved the end of the experience, and I've moved the end of the experience further out so that the whole thing, in my mind, the whole experience took longer, but the end isn't the point where someone said something about my dress and I was left all alone with the dishes. The end is the next day, when my friends or my siblings came over and we had a nice little cleaning party and then ate more cake. And then after, a month, a year, when I'm planning the next birthday party, when I think about the experience, my feelings will be much more positive because the end wasn't this low point of someone saying something about my dress and me being abandoned with all the dishes. And even though that point still happened, since it wasn't the end of the experience, it doesn't have nearly as much weight. And it wasn't even the low point, 'cause it's not as bad as my brother falling and cutting his head open. So it doesn't get counted the same way. It's not one of the 3 major markers that our brain uses in order to assess whether the experience was good or bad. And it just kind of gets swallowed up into the whole experience. And so this leads us back to the title of this post. If you want to improve your vacation simply and easily, one of the things you can do is end it a day earlier. All right, so if I'm going away to Prague for 10 days, I've never been, but I've heard it's lovely, and I have to go back to work on Tuesday. If I come back to Israel on Monday, land, get luggage, get home from the airport, deal with anything that happened at home, water the plants, laundry, shopping, getting ready for work, the day will almost certainly be pressured. It will be stressful. and it won't be almost certainly. Maybe there's people who can pull this off, but I know for me, I would probably not have a good day there. On the other hand, if I plan to come back Sunday, right, I land Sunday, I get my luggage, I go home, I deal with the laundry, maybe I order pizza, and then the next day I have a day to deal with the rest of the laundry, go shopping, do my meal prep, get myself ready for work, review whatever I have to do, call some friends, maybe have a lazy evening, and just go back to work calm and relaxed. Not only am I just going to feel better on Tuesday, but in a month or 2 months or next summer when I'm remembering my vacation, whether I had 8 days in Prague or 9 days in Prague probably is not going to actually make any difference, right? I'm almost certainly not going to be sitting there going, oh, I could have seen one more museum or gone on one more walking tour. Maybe if there's something that was really important to me, but probably not. However, if I remember that the last day of the vacation, like the end, was pressured and stressed and I didn't get everything done and I went back to work wearing dirty pants and having eaten cold pizza, that's going to color the entire experience. Whereas if I went back to work calm, relaxed, collected with my lunch in its little Tupperware, and after having a nice evening and going to bed early, then that is going to color the experience differently. And so we can have, we are about to run